Kazazel gives you some time to consider your course of action. The Dark Elf's ship, the Obeziana Avtobus, made its way through the webway towards the planet of Saleh, where the exchange would be made. As you make your way through the ship, meeting different crew members, you get a better understanding of the size and scope of the ship and its operation. There are thousands of crew members. Many of them are menials who simply maintain the ship. They are paid a small wage from any raid the more active members of the crew were involved in. These payments would be gathered and then distributed by Kazazel himself. The rest of the crew was made up of higher-ranking engineers, renegade tech priests, Xeno mercenaries, former pitmongers who now acted as muscle for different missions, former pupils of the Schola Progenium, many flavors of humanity with a smattering of exotic Xenos. The way things worked on board was that Kazazel would make his own plans and reveal to his crew what planet they would be landing on next. The Dark Eldar would then make whatever plans he had in mind and bring along whatever crew he needed for the mission. Anyone who was not involved in Kazazel's scheme was permitted to make their own plans and make their own money. Crew members could rent themselves out as mercenaries, or maybe they acquired some goods in the last raid and they needed to find a buyer. Maybe they wanted to orchestrate their own raid somewhere on the planet. The only rule was to not break any arrangement that Kazazel had made with the local authorities. After a little while, you returned to Kazazel with your decisions regarding the upcoming exchange with the mysterious dealer.
So, have you made up your mind, my friend? Ah, you wish to bring along a little extra muscle in case things go south. Well, I suppose that makes sense. When dealing with a new client whose trustworthiness has not been proven, it is often better to speak softly and carry a big stick. Very well. I have a couple of friends we could bring along. Still, I would prefer to keep this small. We're meeting in the back room of a respectable establishment. Too many friends might make the dealer nervous. I think we'll bring Book and Ophis along.
Ophis was a snake-like Xenos. Kazazel said she was a slith. She had exotic armor covering her torso, and had 4 arms capable of wielding multiple weapons. You could tell by the way Ophis moved that she was incredibly quick. She preferred to use 2 wicked blades, and then 2 Xenos pistols whose pattern you didn't recognize. Book was a beast man with cloven hooves and the head of a goat. He was clad in some kind of custom carapace armor that had been modified to suit his form. He also carried a full-sized bolter. Normal humans rarely were able to use such a weapon, but Book was powerful and heavily muscled. Despite the fact that Book's weapon and armor were well maintained, the Beastman still stank to high heaven. No matter the situation, he always smelled like a wet barn. When the Obeziana Avtobus re-entered real space, Saleh was only a short flight away. Freeport was the capital city and spaceport of the planet. Thousands of ships of every size and shape were constantly coming and going. As Kazazel was granted permission to dock, you prepare for your meeting with the mysterious dealer. As you land, Kazazel informs the crew of how long they're going to be on planet. Everyone will need to be back in 2 weeks. You disembark along with hundreds of other crew members. Some were off to spend their hard-earned loot in this pirate's paradise. Others had business ventures of their own to attend to. Kazazel, Teresa, Book, and Ophis join you as all 5 of you make your way to the meeting place. Freeport almost felt like home to you. It was filthy, loud, and crammed with people. The only difference was the prevalence of Xenos wandering around. Hawkers and grifters of all kinds were shouting about their wares and trying to lure customers over with games of chance. Gambling, drinking, exotic dancing, joy girls and boys offering their wares, weapons and armor markets abound. You think to yourself that once this deal goes down, you might want to grab another job and earn some cash to spend here. You realize you don't actually know what currency this place uses. As you walk through the crowd, Book speaks up.
So, who is the secret man who buys the orb? What are we getting?
Ophis piped up as well.
Yes. What manner of creature is he? It is my understanding that the point of being a mysterious collector is that people don't know your identity. I don't particularly care who this individual is. The only thing I care about is that they're reliable and that they pay well. Also, never talk business in public. We don't want to attract any kind of attention from the riffraff looking to enrich themselves on our hard work.
You look around. It's hard to tell if anyone was listening. There are so many bodies moving through the crowd. It's difficult to tell if anyone even started following you. Teresa currently carried the orb in a simple carrying case, and she walked in the center of the group. Eventually, you arrive at the Drunken Monkey, a watering hole where you are to meet this mysterious collector. As you walk in, you're hit with a wall of noise. Men and women are pounding their drinks on the table as a massive human exchanges blows with a crute. People are shouting and placing bets. Teresa taps you on the shoulder and motions for you to follow the group. A well-dressed man greets Kazazel and brings you all back to a private room where you're to have your meeting. When you first arrive, there is no one in the room.
It seems our mysterious friend is going to be fashionably late.
Suddenly, the room filled with a flash of green light. When the light dimmed, there was a servitor standing in front of you with 3 floating black crates. The vox caster on the servitor crackles to life.
I think not. I believe I have arrived precisely and fashionably on time, Eldar.
Oh, I do appreciate someone who knows how to make an entrance. Though I must say, your spokesperson is a little lacking in pizzazz.
This mindless pawn is cheap, replaceable, and perfectly suited to my purposes. I know you are a busy life form, and would like to return you to your life of prodigality as soon as possible. So let's make this quick and easy. Give me the orb, and I'll give you these.
The servitor presses a button, and the 3 crates open, filling the room with the same eerie green light from before.
Gauss rifles. Oh my. I must admit that I prefer the personal messy kill myself, but I'll not deny that sometimes the best way to solve your problems is to deatomize them.
There are a dozen rifles here, along with a recharging cube. That should last you some time. The cube stores a great deal of energy, so store it someplace safe. An antimatter explosion in the middle of your ship would be most unfortunate. If you ever need another cube, there are plenty of lovely artifacts on my wish list, and I have plenty of materials that might interest men and women of fortune such as yourselves.
Kazazel nodded.
Teresa, if you would do the honors.
Teresa moved forward with the case and opened it for the servitor to see the orb.
Lovely. I don't suppose you have any Tau lying around that you're willing to sell as well.
I do believe my men sold a few at the slave markets. The fleshmongers should be fully stocked on Tau.
Excellent. Then I believe our business is finished. Enjoy your toys, young Master Kazazel.
With that, the servitor vanished with the orb, leaving the Gauss rifles and charging cube behind.
I believe I will take the charging cube. That leaves 3 rifles between the 4 of you. If you want to recharge the weapons, it will cost a small fee. Will sound fair?
Ophis had already grabbed 2 of the Gauss rifles and was testing their heft and weight, hissing with delight. She slid the 2 Gauss rifles beneath her cloak. You follow her lead and grab one to hide in your trench coat. Each of you collected your share of the booty and prepared to exit the Drunken Monkey. You push open the door and exit the back room. By this time, the fight between the Crute and the human was over. The Crute was covered with blood and was enjoying a drink in celebration. Blocking the exit were about a dozen thugs, eyeing up the floating Gauss rifle cases. A large, rough-looking mutant with scales and jagged teeth steps in front.
What you got in the boxes, knife ears?
Kazazel laughed.
Oh, my dear, sweet, scaly friend. You have absolutely no idea what you're about to put your foot in. Please move out of the way. Or, well, I haven't decided exactly what I'd do to you yet, but I'm very clever. I'm sure it will be something very nasty.
In the grim darkness of the far future, one mistake can mean the end of your life. Now, it's time for you to choose your destiny. Do you reach for your gauze rifle to deal with these ruffians? Or do you pull your las pistol in order to be faster on the draw? Or do you try to talk your way out of the situation? There will be a poll in the community section for people to vote on their course of action. People are also welcome to make their own suggestions in the comment section below. If your suggestions get enough likes, they will influence the course of the story and be incorporated into the actions of the protagonist. You are in control of the story. You will choose the destiny of the main character. What path will you walk?